You are certainly welcome to this brief introduction to the New Testament book of 3 John for the Powellhurst Men's Bible Study. Originally written in Greek, this is the shortest epistle or letter found in the New Testament. It will take less than 2 minutes to read through the epistle. From the English Standard Version, "The elder to the beloved Gaius, whom I love in truth. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health, as it goes well with your soul. For I rejoiced greatly when the brothers came and testified to your truth, as indeed you are walking in the truth. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth. Beloved, it is a faithful thing you do in all your efforts for these brothers, strangers as they are, who testified to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their journey in a manner worthy of God. For they have gone out for the sake of the name, accepting nothing from the Gentiles. Therefore we ought to support people like these, that we may be fellow workers for the truth. I have written something to the church, but Diotrephes, who likes to put himself first, does not acknowledge our authority. So, if I come, I will bring up what he is doing, talking wicked nonsense against us, and not content with that, he refuses to welcome the brothers, and also stops those who want to, and puts them out of the church. Beloved, do not imitate evil, but imitate good. Whoever does good is from God. Whoever does evil has not seen God. Demetrius has received a good testimony from everyone and from the truth itself. We also add our testimony, and you know that our testimony is true. I had much to write to you, but I would rather not write with pen and ink. I hope to see you soon, and we will talk face to face. Peace be to you. The friends greet you. Greet the friends, each by name." Now, there is a backstory to this epistle, which we surmise goes something like this. The Christian movement was in its third generation, and there were now more Gentile or pagan Christians than Jewish Christians. Itinerant missionary evangelists were carrying the good news of Jesus to the provinces and towns of the Roman Empire, forming new churches led by local men. Diotrephes, a leader in a provincial church, refused to allow church members to support itinerant evangelists and would throw out of the church members who did so. Demetrius and some other evangelists went to Ephesus to explain the situation to their mother church. The Apostle John penned this letter, 3 John, to Gaius, a wealthy Christian who would support worthy evangelists. John likely sent Demetrius with this letter to Gaius, who would trust him and provide support to the itinerant evangelists. Thus, this letter can be outlined with 4 major points: a greeting, underscoring John's authority and his love for Gaius; secondly, a blessing, including prayer for health and prosperity, and joy because of Gaius and local Christians who live by the truth. Thirdly, it deals with missionaries, with an exhortation to support itinerant Christian missionaries, warning about Diotrephes, who opposes other Christian workers. Point 4 deals with 2 kinds of leaders, urging to imitate godly leaders and to honor Demetrius, who is a godly leader. And point 5, the closing, expressing hope to see Gaius soon and to exchange mutual greetings. We understand the elder to be the Apostle John, who was at this time an overseer of the church at Ephesus with responsibilities in the provincial churches of Anatolia, otherwise known as Asia Minor. It must have been reported to John that Gaius was having some health issues. So the Apostle John prays for his health. Now remember, when an apostle prayed for health, folk got well, for this was an authority that the Lord Jesus had given to his 12 apostles. John says in verse 3 that the brothers had come to Ephesus. Apparently, these were itinerating or traveling evangelists who came to see John for his approval to raise support from Gaius for their ministry work. Gaius must have been a man of means who remained loyal to Jesus, obeying his commandments. Thus, John urges Gaius to undertake personally to support these particular itinerant evangelists whom he did not know. The grammar in verse 5, translated "in all your efforts," in Greek reads, "whatever you might work." Gaius had not yet done anything for these particular chaps, yet John expected that he soon would do something practical. Now, when you support evangelists and church-planting missionaries, you become a co-worker with Jesus, who is the truth. For the phrase "fellow workers for the truth" could easily be translated a little differently. The Greek noun with the prefix "sun," followed by the truth, in a grammatical instrumental case can mean fellow workers with the truth being a title for the Lord Jesus Christ. We draw an inference that when a church will not support evangelists, then individuals may do so, even at the risk of being shunned. So John appeals to Gaius not to follow the example of disobedient church leaders, but to do what he knows is good, helpful, and honorable. And so immediately, John comments that Demetrius will share with the other evangelists whatever support Gaius will donate to them. We conclude then that God gives to generous givers opportunities to grow in knowledge, grace, and joy. Not goy, joy. Well, goy too, if you are one. John deals with a number of truths in this letter that have come to be known as Christian doctrines. One is the doctrine of apostles. John was one of the 12 whom Jesus had appointed to continue his work in the world, promising to send to them the Spirit of truth. Thus John is able to write, "You know that our testimony is true." The concept of God, for John there is but one true God who does good and rewards good. John rejoices in truth. He works for truth, he writes truth, and he testifies about the truth. Christians likewise are only to speak truth in religion, in politics, in business, and in daily life. For Christians, love is a doctrine. The main mark of true Christians remains the practical love that they show one to another. The doctrine of the church. Christians call themselves brethren. They form communities that they call church, a word that means gathering or assembly. And then the missionaries. Christian churches support itinerant evangelists who receive no support from pagans. Lastly, we have some assignments. Please read through 3 John once a day this week in different translations. You can find several at BibleHub.com. As you do so, jot down notes and queries that you want to discuss in our Bible study group. And think about these queries. A. Is it legitimate to seek missionary support from churches? Is it legitimate for individuals and families to support missionaries whom their church does not support? And thirdly, how can we vet missionaries before we accept to support them? And if you do pastoral work, then meet with your coach or with those whom you coach and talk together about Christians who show leadership ability. Then plan together ways in which current leaders will share opportunities with new leaders to serve in tiny churches or outreach teams. And then pray for each one of them by name.